Well, thank you. So my name is Ellie Savit, and I'm the elected prosecuting attorney for Washtenaw County. And I'm going to talk about expungement, and you got sort of some of the parameters already, but broadly speaking, expungement, as was mentioned, is a process by which your criminal record goes entirely non-public, right? Which means not only can people not see it on iChat, on criminal background checks, legally you also do not have to disclose those old expunged convictions on, for example, job applications or rental applications, or if you're applying for educational benefits or anything else where they ask that question, have you ever been convicted of a crime? You can just check no because it has been expunged under the law. Now, it doesn't go away entirely. Law enforcement can still see it. Courts can still see it. And if you get caught up in the criminal system, again, you know, it is visible to the judges, prosecutors, and law enforcement. So it's not gone entirely, but for all intents and purposes, as you're walking around out in the world, it's gone. Nobody can see it. And indeed, it is actually a crime to intentionally disclose somebody's criminal record that has been expunged. So there's pretty serious safeguards around it. Now, I guess for some people that don't know me, one of the questions might be, okay, you're the prosecutor though, like why are you up here talking about getting people's records cleared, right? Like prosecutors are the people that put records on people, right? And that is true, you know, that is something that we do. I am a prosecutor. But one of the reasons why I love doing expungement work so much is because it is my firm belief and our office's firm belief that nobody should be defined by the worst thing they've ever done. And in the criminal system, honestly, what everybody should be hoping for is that somebody, you know, goes through the process, turns their life around, gets whatever help that they need, and then stays out of trouble and we don't see them again. And why would we be attaching a lifetime of stigma and really a lifetime of holding somebody back when they've done everything that we've asked them to do? Now, that's the basic principle that led Michigan's legislature to pass much more robust expungement laws than we'd previously had. And in 2021, new legislation went into effect that dramatically expanded the opportunity to expunge an old criminal record. And I want to note this because obviously we're living in really polarized political times, right? Democrats and Republicans can't really seem to agree on much of anything. But this was legislation that passed through the Republican-controlled Michigan legislature by an overwhelming margin, and then was signed into law by Governor Whitmer. It was true bipartisan legislation, and the reason for that is because legislators across the state recognized that there are folks in our community who have done everything right, who have turned their lives around, who have stayed out of trouble, and they deserve that second chance, and a second chance means getting your record expunged. And there's really data to support just how beneficial an expungement can be. Expungement makes it significantly more likely that somebody is going to be able not just to get a job, but to advance in their career, to be at a point in their career where they can earn more money and thrive and provide for their families. A study that was done actually by professors here at the University of Michigan people who had gotten their records expunged indicated that in just the year after somebody got their records expunged, on average, they earned 22% more. So this is really transformational. Makes it easier to get jobs, easier to get housing, easier to continue somebody's education, and makes it much more likely they're going to earn a significant amount of money more and be able to provide for yourself and your family. So why wouldn't we be pressing this? Why wouldn't we be encouraging people to get their records expunged? I'm the prosecutor. Yes, we put records on people. That is just my job. But I also represent the entire community, and if we can do something that's going to help people on average earn 22% more the following year, why wouldn't we do that, right? Because ultimately, getting people better jobs, stable housing, allowing people to continue their educational career, that's the best crime prevention tool we have in the first place, right? So it's not just a fair thing to do, it's consistent with public safety. So all that is the background for expungement. And I'm going to get into some of the details around what the expungement laws say, but I'm going to preface it by saying that it's great legislation. Michigan is now one of the leaders in allowing people to expunge old criminal records. But honestly, the process is clear as mud. There's a lot of nuance to what can be expunged, when it can be expunged, when it automatically comes off your record, or when you might have to apply for expungement. And frequently, people need to consult with a lawyer to work through the process and even to just get started. You mentioned the cost of a lawyer. And one of the things that we have here in Washtenaw County, if it is a Washtenaw County conviction, we work in partnership with our public defender's office, with our sheriff's office, with Michigan Works, and with the Michigan Advocacy Program, which is Legal Services South Central Michigan, to not only offer people the opportunity to get an expungement application in absolutely free of charge, no $10 iChat, no $50 fee, we can cover that, but also at the end of the process, you can be represented for free by either the Public Defender's Office or Michigan Advocacy Program. And the reason we wanted to do that is because the number one reason people want to get their records expunged is to advance in their career, is to get a new job, right? Or to get a better job. But if you're at a point where you're like, man, I really need a little bit more money, I can get this job that will give me more money if I get my record expunged, but it costs $1,500, and that's on the low end, by the way, for an attorney, $1,500, $2,000. You're not going to get that money until you can get the job. You can't get that job until you get your record expunged. So you're stuck in this cycle. So in Washtenaw County, and you can get started right here with a free eligibility check. Run the iChat for free. We're not charging $10. You can get your record expunged. We can take care of you, the coalition that we work with, from start to finish, absolutely free, because we don't want people that are just trying to advance in their careers, advance in their lives, to have to pay that $10, that $50, and then worst of all, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 for an attorney. We don't want the cost to hold anybody back. So that's what we do. That's why we're here tonight. That's why I'm so passionate about expungement and why we've got this coalition that can help folks out with Washtenaw County convictions. So what actually can be expunged? Now, I want to start by saying that under Michigan law, we're talking about Michigan expungement laws, only Michigan convictions can be expunged, right? So if you've got an out-of-state conviction from Ohio or Colorado or California or something like that, Michigan law doesn't apply. Other states do have expungement laws, but you've got to go through that legal system in order to get your record expunged, and the laws vary. And I'm sorry, I've done some of these presentations, and people ask like what Connecticut's expungement laws are, and I don't know. So sorry. So we're only talking about Michigan convictions. Michigan law only covers Michigan convictions. That also means, by the way, that even if you were in Michigan and you caught a federal case, Michigan law doesn't apply to that. So this doesn't cover federal convictions either. So that's the caveat. We're just talking about Michigan state convictions, but it doesn't matter whether it was in Washtenaw County, Wayne County, Livingston County, whatever, the same sort of standards under Michigan law should apply. So there's really two ways your records can be expunged now, and I'm actually going to start with automatic expungement, because this is something that's relatively new. And what did you say your name was back there? Yeah. So everything sounded right. I'm pleased to say, we'll double check it over there, but it sounded like your record did indeed get automatically expunged. In 2023, new legislation went into effect that started automatically clearing old criminal records if they met certain criteria. And basically what the criteria is if you can get unlimited misdemeanors, minor misdemeanors, automatically expunged. And a minor misdemeanor is defined as something that is punishable by less than 93 days in jail. So unlimited misdemeanors can be expunged 7 years after the imposition of your sentence. More serious misdemeanors, which is over that 93 days, you can have up to 4 automatically expunged. And for felonies, you can have up to 2 automatically expunged 10 years after the imposition of your sentence. So when you said it had been like 14, 15 years since your last conviction, that sounded about right to me. Now, part of the issue is a lot of people had their records automatically expunged, but they're still walking around thinking that they have a criminal record. Because unfortunately, what we failed to do as a state is notify people when their records were actually expunged, which is a little bit disappointing because you're probably still answering that question on job application forms or rental application forms saying, yes, I've got a conviction, not knowing that it's legally been expunged and you don't have to put that on there anymore. So that's one of the reasons, if you've got a really old conviction, we might be able to give you really good news tonight and just say, actually, your record is clear. It's been automatically expunged, and you don't have to do anything more at all in the process in order to have that clear record. Now, what I will say about automatic expungement is, though it applies to, as I said, unlimited minor misdemeanors, up to 4 more serious misdemeanors, up to 2 felonies, there are pretty restrictive exclusions for automatic expungement. Probably the main couple of exclusions that disqualify most people from automatic expungements are it can't be an assaultive crime, right? So even a bar fight, something like that, a minor assaultive crime, 93-day misdemeanor, doesn't come off your record automatically. It can come off your record by application. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then the other thing that doesn't come off that really impacts a lot of people is drunk driving, operating while intoxicated. That cannot come off automatically, but again, for applications, there's opportunities to do so. So you're not out of luck if you do have either an assaultive charge or a drunk driving charge. Some of the other exclusions are domestic violence, as well as any crime that's punishable by more than 10 years in prison. So we're talking about a whole host of felonies, but not some of the more serious ones. Yeah, question? Yeah. So if it was pleaded down, it would go by the crime of conviction. So if it was pleaded down, then it doesn't qualify as that. So we're talking about what you're convicted of, not necessarily what you're charged with. That's a great question. So there's exclusions here that are pretty broad, actually, and means that something doesn't automatically come off your record. And that's where the expungement by application process is still so important. Because you can expunge by filing an application and getting a judge to sign off on it a far broader expanse of crimes than come off automatically. For expungement by application, broadly speaking, you can get unlimited misdemeanors expunged, and you can get up to 3 felonies expunged. Right? So there's no distinction between minor and non-minor misdemeanors for the most part in expungement by application like it is with automatic expungements. Importantly, too, you can get up to exactly one, OWI, operating under the influence charge, expunged by application. This was actually something that was initially left out entirely when Michigan's legislature expanded our expungement laws, and it was actually some Republican representatives up in the Upper Peninsula that said, look, this is the crime with which all my constituents are charged because there is no public transportation where we live. We're expanding expungement, that's great. We've got to be able to give these people some relief too. Again, if they've done everything right and have turned things around, they made a mistake, but let's give it an opportunity to take it off. So the legislature went back and added that you can get exactly one OWI taken off your record by application. Now the waiting period for expungement by application is a little bit different than automatic expungement. Broadly speaking, if it's a non-serious misdemeanor, it's 3 years. You can apply for expungement 3 years after the last date that you were under court supervision. So this is different than automatic expungement. See, I told you guys that this gets like really complicated, which is why people need to consult with lawyers. But this is different than automatic expungement, which goes from the day you were sentenced. If you're applying for expungement, it dates from the last day that you were under supervision, which could mean the day that you were released from jail or prison, but most frequently it means the last date that you were on probation or potentially parole. So the day you got off, that is the date that that clock starts running for expungement. For more serious misdemeanors or for OWI offenses, it is a 5-year waiting period. And for felonies, for more serious felonies, it's generally 7 years. There are some exclusions still to expungement by application. Criminal sexual conduct offenses generally are not expungible. Like I said, you can only get one OWI, drunk driving, expunged. You can only have up to 2 assaultive crimes expunged in a lifetime. And then any capital offense, which in Michigan means something that is punishable by up to life in prison, is not expungible. So those are some of the exclusions that apply to expungement by application. And if you got that, unfortunately, it's legally there's just no way to get it off. There is, however, another wrinkle with expungement by application, which is what's called the one bad night rule. Because legislators appropriately realize that often people can get charges stacked up on them, right? Let's say you had, got a drunk driving offense, and then you ran from the cops when they pulled you over, and there were 4 cops chasing you, and all of a sudden you've got not just a drunk driving offense, but now you've got, because 4 officers are chasing you, 4 resisting and obstructing charges against you, right? I mean, just bad night. What the legislature said is that if a series of crimes happened within a 24-hour period, with some exceptions, that can count as only one offense. So if you've got multiple felonies within that 24-hour period, which usually, if you're not like on a crime spree or something like that, which usually are a result of really a bad incident, right? That counts as one for the purposes of for example, that 3 felony cap. So that is something that even if you have more than 3 felonies, can potentially get you relief if 2 or 3 or 4 of those were from a single incident. So those are the broad parameters, and there are still yet more wrinkles that I haven't gone through, but those are the broad parameters that most frequently impact people. And I'll talk now just a little bit about how the application process works. The first thing you got to do in order to start an expungement application is to find out what's actually on your record. And that's the process we can start you with here today. You can do it for free also at home. It costs $10 to run an iChat, Internet Criminal History. What does AAT stand for? Do you guys know? I forgot. Okay, well, it's the Internet Criminal History something. Yeah, okay, tool, yeah. So that's a publicly available database that employers can look at, anybody can look at, but you can look at too. Pay $10, you can look at what your criminal record is yourself, but we can do it here for free tonight, or if you contact our office, we can do it for free anytime. So if you are eligible for expungement, you start filling out the application, and you've got to do several things. One is you've got to get certified copies of court records. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this requirement because we live in an online world, and the fact that you have to go to the court and get the court to certify your court records so then you can put it in a packet and mail it back to the court does not make any sense at all to me, especially when all of this is available online, but it is what it is. Now, in many counties, that means that you got to pay a fee to get your certified copies of court records. Again, here in Washtenaw, if it's a Washtenaw County conviction, we can do that for free. We work with the courts, we get those for free. We can provide those to you for free. So you got to get the copy of your certified court records. You got to get fingerprinted, and then you fill out the application. You send the entire thing to the Michigan State Police with $50, which again we can take care of if it's a Washtenaw County conviction. And copies are then sent both to the prosecutor's office that got the conviction. So if it's a Washtenaw conviction, that's our office. If it's a Monroe conviction, it's the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office, as well as to the State Attorney General. And the prosecutor and the Attorney General both have an opportunity to weigh in to say whether they object to the expungement, either on legal grounds because they don't think somebody is eligible, or if it's somebody that they don't think should get in expungement. So that's built into the process. Once that happens, once all of that process is complete, you'll get a court date. And you'll go in front of a judge, and there will be a hearing. Now, again, here in Washtenaw County, you can be represented for free by an attorney from Michigan Advocacy Program. And at that hearing, judge may ask questions about what you've done during the period of time since your criminal conviction. They may have questions about, for example, whether you have been making efforts to pay any restitution you owe or something like that. But broadly speaking, it tends to be a pretty quick hearing for the most part. If the prosecutor, the Attorney General have both given the thumbs up, your record shows that you are eligible for expungement. Most judges are going to pretty quickly grant the expungement application, and at that point, the order's signed, the record goes entirely non-public, and you no longer have to disclose it on any of these applications or forms that folks may fill out. So that is, broadly speaking, the process. I will prepare folks for the fact that, just like everything in our system, if you're applying for an expungement, it can take a while. It's gotten faster, thankfully, in the few years that we've been doing this, because many, many more people obviously are applying for expungement, but it still can take sometimes a matter of months before you get that court date, before all the various actors sign off on it, the fingerprints get run, and everything like that. So I just want to be honest and prepare folks for that, but it is right before New Year's. There's no time like the present to get started on expungement. And like I said, we're not just happy to help you out today, but if folks have questions or want to reach out, they can contact our office's Conviction Integrity and Expungement Unit. We have information over there about how to contact us. So even if you know somebody that wasn't able to make it tonight, we do this year-round. You can get into contact with our office. We can get you started on the entire process. Again, absolutely free of charge, so long as it is a Washtenaw County conviction. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that was a lot of legal stuff. Yeah, my man back there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, so the question was, you got convictions over 10 years old. Maybe they're on your record. Maybe you're not. We'll figure that out. And if they're not Washtenaw County convictions, then they should be automatically expunged. Just to clarify this, it's the exact same process, right? It's state law. So Oakland County should come off just like Washtenaw County should. We don't differentiate between counties under state law. But if it's a different county's conviction, then yeah, it's true that we can't help with like certified copies of court records here or anything like that. We can help you out with any that are in Washtenaw. And then also our partners at Michigan Advocacy Program, they're a statewide organization. So frequently they can refer to partner organizations, partner legal services organizations that may be able to help out in those counties. Yep. Yeah.
I had questions from a couple of. Thanks. As far as being out of county, going through Michigan Advocacy, do they have hardship? Like for people that truly can't afford the $50?
So out of county, because here
Yes.
we've, yeah. I don't honestly know the answer to that statewide. What I will say, I know some places. City of Detroit has Project Clean Slate, which operates very similarly and is run out of the City of Detroit government. And they can help out folks for free with not just Detroit-based convictions, but who are Detroit residents. And I know that whole process is entirely free of charge per Project Clean Slate. I don't know what every single county is doing or every single legal services organization where their funding streams come from. We get a lot of the resources that we have available here in partnership with Michigan Works Southeast, which does cover more than just Washtenaw County. But I'm just not in a position to know every single county in Michigan, unfortunately. So I'd inquire, but I just don't know the answer off the top of my head.
So this person could call your office, though, and get connected with Michigan Works and Michigan Advocacy to try and start the process?
Yeah. So they can call our office. They can also just reach out directly to Michigan Advocacy Program because that's likely where we'd refer them, so they can refer them to one of their partner organizations. Again, we're happy to help if we get the calls in, but just to take one step out of the process, they can just contact Michigan Advocacy Program directly, and I'd recommend doing that if it's out of Washtenaw.
Thank you.
Yep.
Also, as far as DUIs, do they have a different classification for the super drunk?
I don't believe so for the super drunk. What I will say is if it's a driving incident that causes serious injury or death, then that is not expungible. And I forgot to mention that. But I believe that whatever your BAC was, as long as it's a DUI, then and it did not cause injury or death, then I believe that's expungible. I'm like 90% sure about that, but even I don't have all this stuff memorized because it gets complicated. So I just want to be honest about that. Yep.
So I got charged with a second third. Would that be expungible or not?
A second third for. So it was more than one DUI? Yeah. So no, that wouldn't be expungible. Only one is expungible. It means super high BAC. So I mean, you can be over the .08 limit, or you can be significantly above that, and there's differing penalties associated with that. But I don't believe, again, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I don't believe that makes a difference. I think you can still get one of those expunged so long as it didn't result in serious injury or death. Right. Correct. Correct, unless the legislation changes. I know Representative Wilson, out of Eastern Washtenaw County, has been exploring a bill that would expand eligibility for for subsequent OWI offenses. I forget if the legislation was introduced, but I think in particular what he was looking at is, if they happen within a particular period of time, sometimes people are just in a phase of their life and they make more than one mistake, but if they stayed out of trouble, they've been sober, for example, for 10 years, why should the fact that they happen to get pulled over twice mean that they're unable to clear their record, whereas somebody that, frankly, may have just gotten a little bit luckier and went through the same journey does get the opportunity for a clear record. So he's working on that. I know that bill has not passed into law yet, and I don't believe it'll get a hearing before next year. But yeah, the short answer is, as things stand right now, it's one and only one on the drunk driving or OWI offenses.
Can I ask another question regarding that? I have a sponsee who has 2 DUIs and was told she could have one removed, but it's the first one. So on your record, does that still show as second DUI? So they don't see the first, but they see the second.
Right, which I get in some ways that undermines some of the purpose of it, but your record is your record, and it still goes by the crime of conviction. So yeah, it would show OWI second.
Okay.
So. Back there.
So would going into a different country count as law enforcement? If they ask Canada or going to Europe or something along those lines, Border Patrol, is law enforcement as well? I'm not sure if this is in your realm of.
No, yeah, I hear what you're asking. Can they see it?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, they can see it, but it shouldn't carry any consequences. And we've actually had this before. People that were unable to go into Canada because of a criminal conviction when they had family there, and were just trying to go for the holidays and weren't able to. When you get your record expunged, that should remove that impediment. But yeah, I mean, Customs Border Patrol. They have access to the same law enforcement database that every cop has, so
Sure.
they can still see it, but it shouldn't be something that holds you back.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a sponsee that got a DUI 25 years ago. He is currently just one, and so it sounds like it's expungible. And but he has a breathalyzer in his car, and per the state of Michigan, and it seems like he's going to have this in his car forever. I just wonder if he gets that expunged, could that impact his ability to get a full license back? And maybe that's not your arena, but
Yeah. So that's a question actually for the Secretary of State, which has a different process relating to driving restrictions and the like. The expungement laws relate to really making non-public the underlying criminal record. There are separate processes that the Secretary of State has with, for example, license restoration. I am not as familiar with those processes because it's not something that we deal with, but it is. I can tell you that it is a separate process if it's something that's been imposed on his license or through the Secretary of State. Yeah.
If we filled out the QR code application thing, is that something that will be talked about tonight individually?
We should be able to. Yeah, I think are we running them now or what? So yep, our team back there is hard at work pulling these up. It can sometimes take a little while because it's a government internet system, but yeah, so we can get you started on that process. We can talk about it tonight. And if there's something that we need to look into a little bit more, which I will say sometimes happens, frankly, sometimes there's errors in the system, name mix-up and the like, or if it's a particularly complex case, we'll get back to you on that too. So we can give you a quick read on it tonight, and then if you don't give you the entire answer, if we need to look into something more, we'll follow up as well.
Anyone else have questions? Okay. Thank you, Ali.
All right. Thank you.